I've been fortunate enough through online business to earn $200,000 by the age of 19 years old, and here's the story of how I spent it all. I'm not gonna lie guys, this video idea came to me from Graham Stephan and the video series he always reacts to of famous NBA or NFL players and how they spent their first $1 million. It's kind of interesting to watch those videos and see how people just blow crazy amounts of money as soon as they start making it, and just so you guys see what I mean, we're gonna watch a tiny bit of an episode with this dude, Ronnie Stanley.
First thing I bought with my first $1 million, a BMW X6M sports car. That car was my dream car, and that was a car I always wanted to drive. I just like the look. BMW, 120K. Took a trip to Japan. Went with my girl and a couple of friends. I think it ended up being around $20,000. Visited a couple different cities, stayed there for about 2 weeks. It was a great experience. Trip to Japan, 20K. And I ended up buying a samurai sword while I was there. And that samurai sword was about $12,000.
Bro, what? $12,000 for a samurai sword, if I heard that correctly, and I can pretty much guarantee you guys that thing isn't bringing him any value other than like hanging on the wall of his house collecting dust, which by the way, according to this video, he spent $600,000 on his house. I don't really think that's too stupid since this dude makes a ton of money. He also spent $150,000 on Bitcoin, which I personally think is a good investment. And finally, he spent $522,000 on, it looks like, a bunch of dumb crap. Of course, it's easy for me to hate since clearly from the title of this video, I haven't made $1 million yet, but I've been lucky enough over the last few years to earn $200,000. And just like this famous athlete, I've done some dumb stuff and some smart stuff with my money. So the first thing I bought with my money around the age of 17 years old is this 2007 Toyota Corolla LE, which at the time had about 64,000 miles on the odometer. I have a feeling I kind of overpaid for the car since I bought it from a dealership for about $6,000. If I bought it private sale, I probably could have saved some money, but at the end of the day, this car has been super reliable. I've taken it on multiple road trips this year and it hasn't given me any issues. In an effort though to turn this depreciating asset into an appreciating one, I've thought about renting it out on this app called Turo where you can rent out your car, but unfortunately my car doesn't qualify since it's over 12 years old. This car is like 14 going on 15 years old, so sadly I can't rent it out on Turo, but that doesn't mean I don't want to get into the side hustle. In the next month or so, I plan to buy a car to rent out exclusively on Turo, and I think it'll make for some really good YouTube content, and who knows, maybe it'll turn to a really profitable business for me. So I'm excited to try that out this year and see how much money I can make. On top of spending $6,000 on a one-of-one limited edition supercar, taxes were also a major expense for me. So taxes is something I get asked about quite a lot, and to be honest with you guys, if you plan to make any money online, be prepared to take 20 to 25% off the top because that money is going straight to the government. It kind of sucks, but when you own your own business, there's something known as self-employment tax, which means you pay more than someone who has a typical 9-to-5 job, which is kind of stupid in my opinion, but I guess politicians gotta fund their salaries and stupid spending somehow. In total for 2019, which was my first successful year in business, I paid a total of $7,000 to the IRS, I believe. Then in 2020, I think I paid around $10,000. And finally for 2021, I don't know exactly how much taxes I owe, but I'm guessing it's going to be around $18,000 total, which I'm definitely not looking forward to. Those first two things alone bring me to $41,000 of spending, but before we continue with how I've spent my money, let's take a look at my phone because I want to show you guys how I saved at least a little bit of it. Starting things off with my crypto portfolio, which it's got $8,357 in it. At the peak, this portfolio was more like $12,000, but as many of you guys know, the crypto market hasn't been too good lately, and the main coins I own are Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have tanked quite a bit the last few weeks. On top of the crypto portfolio, I'm also trying to save for retirement right now because if it ever comes to a point kind of like the movie movie Office Space where I wake up in the morning and decide I don't want to work anymore. I want to have the opportunity to eventually retire, so looking at my Fidelity account, you guys can see I have a little over $24,000 in it, which is definitely not bad, but year to date we're down $3,000 just because the markets have been absolutely tanking. I don't really care though, because I see it as a buying opportunity and I don't plan to retire anytime soon. I try to put at least $1,000 every single month aside into a retirement account, and I'd highly recommend, if you guys are making money from a side business, try putting at least a little bit of the profit aside, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $500 a month, or whether it's just like $25 a month. That savings adds up over time, especially if you start investing young. Finally guys, the last of my investments are kind of grouped together between $1,000 I spent on NFTs, and then I have a bunch of smaller stock market accounts, all the way from a Robinhood account, I've got a Webull account, and a Wealthfront account. The total on all of that is about $5,000, so that brings the total spend so far for this video to 80 grand. Back to spending money, by far the biggest expense I've had since starting this whole journey of running my own businesses is business expenses of about $60,000. I know that sounds like a bunch of money to spend on business expenses, but you guys have to think, just to run one of my businesses, which is this YouTube channel, I'm spending about $4,000 every single month between paying my editor, paying someone to do my thumbnails. On top of that, I'm also traveling a lot for videos if I think of a good video idea I can do. And on top of that, I have individual videos this year that I've spent $1,000 or $2,000 to create, and you have to think, those costs definitely add up. On top of spending money to create YouTube videos, you guys already know I'm trying out new side hustles all the time, and that obviously is also an expense. Just a couple days ago, as an example, since I really want to get into the Turo business, I spent about $150 on a course from Aubrey Janique, who's a YouTuber who has a 6-figure Turo business. Most of those business expenses I mentioned are tax write-offs, meaning it lowers my taxable income so I pay less money in taxes, but still, spending that much money every single month isn't fun, and as much as I'd like to cut costs, I'm a believer in spending money to make even more money back. I'm also a believer in paying people that work with me well, because instead of finding someone for the cheapest possible rate to do a job, I find people who I think are best for the job, and a lot of times they charge a higher price for what they do just because they're more qualified, and you want to work with people that are pushing you forward and helping you think of new ideas rather than someone who just does the bare minimum to get the job done. On top of business expenses, I've also had about $30,000 worth of personal expenses over the last couple years, and that can be broken down between an apartment I had for about 6 months. The rent on that was $1,090 every single month. So in total, in that 6-month period, I paid $6,540. Luckily, right now, I'm living with my parents for a little while before I move to a new place in February. So we're saving money on rent. And other than rent, I can't really tell you where the rest of those personal expenses went. It kind of just added up over time, and I try to be relatively frugal with my money, although I definitely made some mistakes back in the day. As an example, occasionally on the weekends in high school, I would do this thing where I get like 4 or 5 of my friends together and we'd rent a hotel, usually all on me. Things like that always tended to add up because it was like $120 for the hotel room. We'd spend like $50 on pizza, and usually people wouldn't really pitch in, so I was stuck paying for that entire thing. I remember one time in particular where I rented a hotel room with some of my friends, and things somehow got kind of out of hand, and one of my friends broke the mount for the TV in the hotel room, and of course my card was on file on that hotel room, and I was stuck paying a $250 fine, which wasn't fun, and that ended the hotel era. Lastly guys, for the roughly $30,000 remaining, I have that in cash between a personal account and a business account. I know that may seem like a lot of money to have in cash, but you guys have to think, I still have to finalize my taxes for this year, which shouldn't be too much since I paid quarterlies. And number 2, I also want to buy a car soon to rent out on Turo. And number 3, the stock market's crashing, so I want to buy the dip as much as possible. With that being said, I know this video was a little bit different, so I hope you guys still enjoyed it, because I always enjoy people who are transparent with how they make and spend their money, so I thought I might as well deliver you guys that service also. If you guys enjoyed this one, please be sure to drop a like, and also follow me on Instagram. If everyone watching this right now follows me on Instagram, I'll be able to hit 10,000 followers, and that'd be cool. Peace out.